Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this lovely Monday morning. Hope all of you are starting off the week refreshed and rested. Today's webinar is all about using technology to promote sustainability and drive revenue. So first, this webinar is being recorded and we'll send everyone a link afterwards. So if for any reason you get interrupted, you have to step away for a moment, no worries, you'll get a recording and be able to go back to what you might have missed. Okay, so quick agenda overview for today. So next slide, perfect. We're going to do some intros with our host and panelists. We'll do a brief overview of how Vish and SalonBiz work together. We're going to hear from our amazing panelists on challenges that they were experiencing in their salons and how they created solutions for them. And if you have any questions during the webinar, put them in the Q&A section and we're going to answer them as we go. But as always, we're going to leave some time at the end for Q&A. And we know sometimes they can get submitted in the chat feature, so we're going to keep an eye on that area as well. All right, so into introductions. I've already been talking. I am Denise Boudreaux. I'm the Director of Sales at SalonBiz. I've worked in the industry for 20 years now, and when I first started in the industry, I was working in the actual salons. And this was back when technology wasn't necessarily supporting sustainability, so I'm really excited to discuss how advanced technology has become in this area because I feel like I did it the hard way back in the day. All right, I'm going to kick it off to my girl, Tonya.
Hi, I'm Tonya Jones. I'm out of Birmingham, Alabama, and I'm so excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
All right, and our next panelist is Lora.
Hi, I'm Lora Powell. My salons are in Spring Hill, Tennessee, and also in Columbia, Tennessee. I have 2 salons, and we have been around for a while, since 2009. But I've been with SalonBiz for a long time, 15 years, I think, and Vish since 2020.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tim Howard. I've been in the industry for 30 years. And I've worn many hats. I've been a hairdresser, salon owner, and I started Vish, I guess about 9 years ago. The concept of Vish kind of popped into my head, maybe a little bit longer, and been working on it ever since. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much. And I guess, one of the reasons why we wanted to have this webinar today, of course, is to talk about sustainability. And every salon owner on this call and throughout, our entire industry knows that hair color waste is such a problem. And that's really what kind of drove me to start Vish, was to eliminate that problem. And, we'll get into many other things that Vish does, but some interesting stats that 2 out of 5 tubes of color get wasted. So just think about that. Think about how much inventory you have. And I know we look at it and we look at our sink and we're surprised and horrified by the amount of color that's there. But, based on the data and the information we've taken out, we know that to be true, that 2 out of 5 get wasted. So our goal and what we feel our software should do is to eliminate that product waste, the hair color waste. Also standardize color service profitability. So what we also discovered early on was that salons are making the majority of their money off bleaching services, highlighting, balayage, etc., because cost of goods are so much lower. So we aim to fix that by making sure that all services across the board are equally profitable, and provide detailed data and analytics, not just on the services themselves, but on each staff member, each person that provides services in your salon, so that you can actively affect change through this data. And we also look at reducing your inventory carry. So look at what you're carrying, look at how much you're using, and then make adjustments to your inventory based on real data, and data that you can get in real time. One other stat is that a salon gives away approximately 10% of their service revenue. So that comes from, just not collecting those toners, not charging for that treatment. And also, we want to make sure that we help with that to provide more transparency so that clients and customers are charged properly, and hairdressers are making the money that they should, and salons are not giving away profits. So we'll just dive quickly into what Vish is. So we are a hair color management system, And again, we're here to eliminate hair color waste, improve profits, and control pricing. And there's really three parts to our software. So we have the main part, or the part that we collect the data from, which is the iPad app or the Color Bar app. And hairdressers mix on that. And from there, we know how much inventory you're using. We know how much waste you have. We know what services should be priced. If there's an overage that needs to be charged, we make sure that's captured. So what we do is we replace the scale that you have in your salon now that you're mixing hair color, and we pair it with an app, which is on an iPad. Will be out for Android this year. And we collect all that information and we provide you with a dashboard. And that dashboard gives you detailed insight into how your team is performing, how your color department is performing. And then also we provide you with a third piece of the software, which is a widget that sits in front of SalonBiz, so that when you go to check out a guest, rather than relying on your hairdresser to recall or write down or put it in SalonBiz, we automatically show you at the front desk what changes have occurred in that service. So if somebody maybe booked a half head highlight but got a full head highlight, if they added a toner, if there's extra product use, we make sure that that's visible to the front desk team so that they can charge accurately for every service, ensuring that you're as profitable as you can be.
I made sure I was not muted before I started talking, so thanks, Tim. So quick overview of SalonBiz. I know many of you that have joined are likely SalonBiz customers, but we're salon management software and we automate processes and in turn helping salons to increase revenue through those automations and also fuel growth. So we have tools that are going to fill the book, reduce no-shows, accelerate retail sales, optimize inventory, and so much more. It's also designed to elevate the guest experience at every touch point, which is going to help increase retention and also build that long-lasting loyalty that you need from your guest. And lastly, we connect salon owners to their business by providing real-time access to client data, performance, business insights, all of this from anywhere and from any device. Now, for many years, we've been aligned with partners and associations in the industry on sustainability initiatives. And when we create technology solutions, we're mindful of not only our carbon footprint, but also those of our customers. And we think, how can we help our salons be more eco-friendly? So we now provide completely paperless solutions to all of our salon customers through e-receipts, also through digitalized work tickets, which some may know to be travelers. So we digitalize that process, and also consultation forms. We've also added in some automations where charges can be placed onto the ticket to help offset any eco-friendly program cost that the salon may accrue. And then we've also reduced the need to have that not so eco-friendly hardware, which in turn is going to add cost savings to the salon on paper, ink, toner, all of that. And look, we listen. So if there's any other ways that we can help you guys be more eco-friendly and be more sustainable, put it in the chat for us. I'd love to hear your feedback.
So we want to talk about, it's an interesting story, actually. SalonBiz was the first company we approached with Vish in early days, but we knew that the integration was such an important part. Vish is built as a standalone system, but we are stronger with our, with SalonBiz partnership. So what we're able to do is connect with SalonBiz. So for your hairdressing team, the appointments that are booked in SalonBiz are automatically pulled into Vish. So as a hairdresser, I'm going to log into Vish with my unique PIN. I'm going to see my appointments, my color appointments populated for that day. And then while I'm mixing, again, we track everything that you're doing. So if you've added a service, if you use extra product, we make sure that that's pushed back to the front desk so that those charges can be inputted manually, but inputted into SalonBiz. And then we have a two-way integration as well. So we push back the formula because we know there's a lot of salons still are want to do their consultations. They want to see the formula in SalonBiz. So we're happy to push that back into SalonBiz, giving your hairdressers the ability to consult, to know what they did last time without relying on them to make notes themselves. So again, that's an automatic return of the formula notes back into SalonBiz.
Thanks, Tim. All right, Tonya, we would love to hear your story on SalonBiz and Vish. So I'm going to We're going to give you the floor here.
Absolutely. So, Tim, thanks for having me. This is an amazing journey that we've had at Tonya Jones Salon Spa with Vish, with 2 locations and over 35 hairdressers. As you all know, it's hard to keep a tab on those hairstylists that are just squeezing the tube and not caring how much it cost. And so what Vish did for us was really get a hold on our inventory. We were constantly running out of product. The question's always why? Why do we run out of product? And we see all of the service sales, that we're doing, but if you follow the KPIs in the benchmark system around keeping your back bar cost below the 7% now that they've raised it to, well, before Vish, we were at a 12 to 13%. And once we brought in Vish, it took us down to 4 to 6%, which I'm happy to report that is a huge savings in your back bar cost. Now, that is against total service sales, where we get that cost number, but we also saw our inventory actually become, we weren't running out of product. We were actually ordering the correct products. And so, we used to take the tabs, throw them in the bucket, and then we used to go to the SalonBiz and just reorder that. Well, who knows if the bucket was correct. So now the correct thing that we have is on our dashboard with Vish. The stylist not tracking their formulas. And how we promote our business is it's every guest, every time. The guest belongs to the salon. We encourage, if we have a stylist out sick, we have your formula, don't worry. So we keep track of that. It's super easy. So it's a no fail, no brainer. We can tell the customer, hey, we have your formula. You can go sit in so-and-so's chair and you'll be just fine. We've got everything you need. The tracking of that is super easy. It's right there at the palm of their hand. All of our stylists have access to everything in SalonBiz, from their mobile app, which is awesome. I actually pull our Vish dashboard in all of our meetings to show our service providers exactly what they're using, who is reweighing, who is not. So that's very encouraging for them to see their waste. Waste was a huge thing for us. We went old school years ago, and we used to keep the old Aveda tea gallon and we would pour the waste in after every service, and who knows who did that or did not. And so with Vish, we're able to actually track that, and we're also able to charge the customer, like Tim said, with the widget that is held at your front desk, to see exactly what they're charging on the Vish scale. So if they're forgetting the toners, we catch it at the front desk. So those are the things that have really raised our total service sales up, is by catching those items, whether the add-ons that we do that the stylists forget to charge for because they don't have time to add that to the ticket. So all in all, we've grown tremendously by incorporating Vish. So I'm very grateful for the technology that Vish has brought to us in SalonBiz.
Thanks, Tonya, for sharing. Lora, let's hear from you.
Hi. Okay, so we've been with Vish for around 2 years, and our story is a little bit different than Tonya's. I love Vish. Vish is amazing, and it has changed our business, especially last year. As you can see, we had $150,000 worth of product charges last year, but that was not just our color expense. What we did was, when we started with Vish, we initially wanted to be able to capture exactly what we were using with our color on our guests and actually pass that along to the guest as a cost. We were finding that, a lightener service for a highlight retouch might only cost $2 to $5. But if they were doing a balayage, a shadow root, a gloss, a glaze, a toner, vivid colors, they're a lot more expensive. They're a lot more expensive than just a color retouch. So we were having difficulty just pricing our services to cover the cost of the product and the service. They don't really, they widely vary across the board. So we started by capturing exactly what that cost was and passing that along to the consumer, to our guest. That actually obviously dramatically reduced our back bar costs almost to nothing, and put us into just a much better, it took it from an expense to an asset. And then in April of last year, we decided to actually do a markup on that color and charge in a parts and labor type of a program. And we changed our color to an actual retail product. And really, that is when it turned into a profit center for us. We actually make profit on our color now. Instead of it being an expense, it's an asset, and it's added revenue to our business. Our waste is, completely reduced. We have very little waste. We do find that we have more waste from a newer stylist than we do from an older stylist. If a stylist is brand new and they don't have those reways to look back on, they do waste a little more product than an older stylist who's been around. But we have a really great, reduction of waste. But also we have a profit center with Vish that has really changed our business. And like I said, we had, last year it was over $150,000, and we started the retail markup in April. And this year so far in product charges, we have collected $90,000 so far this year. So it has dramatically changed our business, in just from a revenue standpoint, as well as obviously reduction in waste, and good for the environment and good for everyone in the salon.
That's great. And, just for everybody, there's some, we'll discuss in the Q&A a little bit later if you have any questions about the specific details when we're talking about, when Laura's talking about parts and labor, or how Tonya has her salon set up. Because there's many different ways to configure Vish so that it fits the culture of your business, and guidance from us into how to be the most profitable salon. But which leads me to my first question for both of you, Lora and Tonya, is all about onboarding. Because my background has been in education. I was an educator for Aveda for 16 plus years. And I know that when you implement something new in a salon, it's not always well received, or there's sometimes some challenges out front. So how did you introduce new technology? How do you introduce new technology, specifically Vish, to your teams? And was there any concerns that your teams had up front about bringing in new technology, something that maybe is going to change their workflow or their process? So whoever wants to go first, actually. So I see your Tonya, maybe if you want to go ahead with that one.
Yeah, I'll take this. So let's go back to when we first rolled Vish out. Everyone knows when you roll something new out, there is a lot of pushback. We get that all the time when there's something new. At the end of the day, it's because there's no clarity, there's no confidence. And so we go back to the 3 C's. We have to have closure of the old ways. We have to get rid of those travelers. Everybody wants to ride on those travelers. And so we had to really, we had to do a lot of training, because we had, some old school hairdressers that had been like myself around for 20 plus years, trying something new with technology. And so it's a trust thing as well. And the thing is that they had to see how easy it could be. And also they had to trust that the information was true, it was going to be there. And so once we really kind of got into learning, and we had the confidence that the technology was going to work, that it was not going to fail us, and that it was going to make our lives easier, that's when the door opened to us being successful with Vish. And I believe that all starts with training. And so we did a lot of onboarding in the beginning, a lot of webinars, lots of Zooms that we had. Our educator, Casey, she was amazing. And so she was totally there for us from start to now. And, and now if I took Vish away or if Vish goes down, it is chaos because they don't know how to revert back to old school, And so we actually have 3 Vish scales in our one salon, and then we have one in our second location. And it's just because of the amount of stylists. When, you have 20 hairdressers mixing color at the same time on a Saturday, it creates a lot of tension. So, but onboarding, when we hire someone new, that is a part of their orientation. So we totally go through the whole process of training you from the computer screen of Vish and how it works. We take you and do hands-on. We take you to do practice, and then you show us and teach us. And so it's been very seamless for us. And I think once you create the training and put that in place, for now, moving forward, the best thing that I hear from everyone is like, oh my God, when I go to reweigh, if I have to mix more, it is super easy, because what hairdresser likes to think of fractions and math? And so it's really cool to see the excitement around your team. And also we work as a team. And so if someone's running low on a product or needs to mix more, super easy. We have all of their PIN codes on a piece of paper next to each scale. So anyone can go mix and follow the formula. So it's super awesome to see that teamwork. So I love it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. How about you, Lora? How was the onboarding experience for you? And, there's always a little bit in the beginning that, hindsight, you'll go back and you would change it. So think about the beginning of Vish when you onboarded your team. And then when you went through that first few months, what would you have gone back and fixed?
It's very, very simple. So we onboarded in the end of 2020. So we were still not really doing in-person things. We were open for business in Tennessee, but there were still many places closed. So we did all of our onboarding through webinars and Zoom calls, and that was very difficult for us. We had a few people that were able to learn that way and kind of grabbed onto it and got the information, and they were trying to then pass the information along to the rest of our team, and it was hard. But as we kind of came out of that 2020 situation and we started seeing people in person again, we had a person from Vish come into our salon and spend a day with us. And that was the change. That was the game changer. We did not know what we were doing. In fact, I think, Tim, you called us at one point and tried to help us. But once again, we're on this Zoom and you told them some information and they were like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Why didn't I know this? Those were all the things that Ellie covered like easily in person that were much more difficult to do online. So I would 100% encourage everybody to make sure that they have somebody come into their salon and teach them. Once that happened, everything just was like clockwork and everything worked brilliantly.
Yeah, and just to be clear, thank you so much for that. Just to be clear, we do that. So we do virtual training, but we also do on-site training, because as we know, as hairdressers, we're experienced people, so we need to see things, we need to play with it, we need to do it. But it's great to have guidance there, somebody there on site while you're doing it. When did you start to notice
worth the investment for sure?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that, when you try to learn haircut virtually, right? It's very difficult to do it. It's much easier when you have the instructor there.
Yeah.
So once the onboarding had sort of completed and you were really getting into it, what were some of the changes that you saw in your salon? And what not just with your staff or just in general, like sort of how everything was functioning and running, and then also about your bottom line. Like, when did you start to notice the benefits, I guess, of using Vish?
You want me to go? Pretty much right away. Our staff is really, everybody's a little bit resistant to change. But when I bring on new technology in the salon, I always try to frame it as a triple win. It needs to be a win for the salon, it needs to be a win for the staff, and it needs to be a win for our consumer. And because of the way things were changing, and especially coming out of the COVID time, things were just changing rapidly, and my staff was pretty receptive to making the changes. So they were pretty good at their reways, and they were pretty good, once they understood what it does take a minute to teach them and understand why we do what we do and why this technology is good. But once they understand, I found that it was no problem getting them to do what they needed to do. Immediately having the data to look at and understand what we're doing, when we're wasting, why we're wasting, the data, and also the data reviews that I had with the Vish were incredibly helpful for me, because I could look at the data myself and go, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. But Vish has those benchmarks that they explain to me during these conversations that helped me to understand where we were doing good or where we could do better. So immediately I noticed a difference as far as which it did take us a little while to ease through the different ways to do it. First we come in, we're trying to just reduce waste and not spend so much. And then I realized, oh, we could actually reduce that whole cost completely. And then not spend so much, not spend any of that. And then I realized, oh my gosh, I can turn this into a profit center, and I can literally completely get rid of this expense and actually turn it into revenue for the salon. So that was just as my brain connected the things, I did it. And my staff was on board with it. And we actually do pay some commissions on our color charges as well. So, which makes it a win for everybody. So I immediately noticed a difference. It does take me a minute to implement all the new things, because I also have to understand it as a business owner. But Vish and the data reviews and the help that and the support that they have given me, really, it has been phenomenal since day one.
Great. Thank you so much. And Tonya, how about you? When did you start to notice the impact or the benefits?
I would definitely say what Laura said. It was immediate for us. We saw immediate, and let me just be transparent with you. Consistency is key. We have a lot of six-figure hairdressers. They're busy. They weren't taking the proper notes of their formulations. They would, tweak a formulation, and the guest would be like, this is amazing. And then when they came back, it would not be the same. And we kind of figured out, okay, well, you're seeing 20 guests a day. We understand you can't make those notes. Well, Vish does not allow that. You have to put the formula in. And if you tweak something, it's super easy because you just remove the product or you add a product. And so those are the cool things. You change the grammage of something, it calculates that for you and it saves it. So that was a huge one for us, because we're just in a busy salon, as you all know, and many of you face the same challenges. That really made us get on that higher level of consistency with our customers, seeing their formulas be consistent. And so with that, again, is waste. Waste was a huge thing for us, because like I said, when you're upwards of a benchmark of 13-14% of what you're spending in back bar, and compared to your service sales, you're just like, WTF, where is this going? And, obviously it's going down the drain, or your hairstylists are not charging for what they're doing. So Vish really was a godsend to capture those services, those toners that were being applied but not tracked and charged. So it was a big aha for us, looking at the decreasing amount of our inventory in our color department. So that was really huge. And also being transparent with your staff of actually how much things cost. And so that's another thing, because they can see that on the dashboard. This is how much it takes to provide the service. This is how much it costs. This is how much the waste is that we're seeing because of the reweight percentage. So there's so much in the detailed of the dashboard that once you train your staff to see those numbers and know what they are, it's a big eye opener, because they know that we can't purchase things for them in the salon if we're not making a profit. And getting them to understand that has been crucial.
Yeah, that's such an important point. I mean, I remember before, I mean, when I owned my salons, there was no Vish, so I came up with it during that time, and then sold my salon to pursue Vish. So, you know, one of the things for me was we had the bucket method, right? We would take the waste, we put in the bucket, we'd pull it out at a staff meeting, and everybody would be shocked. But unless you provide a solution to get rid of the waste and be more sustainable, the shock isn't enough, right? Like, you almost make staff feel guilty for the waste, but you have to provide them with a way to get rid of it. So that was, you know, that was really what we still focus on the most in the very beginning with Vish. So, you know, anyway, I know we're running a bit behind, so if we want to take it over, Denise, because I will talk a lot.
Yeah, no, I love that, you know, Laura, Tonya, you guys are both pointing out, like, it's forcing them to enter those formulas in, right? There's a thing, we're creative people. They don't want to go write down exactly what they did. They're on to the next guest. So I love how it kind of puts that into perspective, because what we always say about technology is the data is only as good as the data that you put in, right? So if the data is missing, then the whole story is not being told. And that's really where Vish helps fill in those gaps, right? I liked too how you were talking about the back bar, you know, like if you're giving away services or it's going at, but I'd love to know if there were specific, like, as you were implementing Vish and as you continue to use Vish, are there features of SalonBiz or reports of SalonBiz that really helped with the onboarding or the implementation of this tool?
I think just having SalonBiz in general has just saved us. We love SalonBiz. I'm a huge fan, as you can tell. So the implementation of that it goes back to our onboarding as well. Like, when we onboard a new hire, it's part of their orientation, and it's super cool because my staff since 2020 have full access. They can see the customer's telephone number. You know, what are we hiding anymore from an old school like mentality? Like, they can't have any access. They can't know any records, any formulas. Now it's in the palm of their hand. So it's really cool with the stats that they're able to see immediate. So that drives them. But in order to look at the Vish and how it really coincides with SalonBiz, is just seamless. And looking at the formulas is super easy of how it breaks it down. It's very user friendly. But we absolutely love just having it right there at the palm of our hands. Everyone has it on their app, you know, and every stylist can pull up, you know, every other stylist day and see what their customer is. So if we've got someone that is in the back room and needs help, we just put it through a messenger and it's like, hey, can you mix this formula for me? And it's super easy. So we love the integration part of it. We love the accessibility of it. So I'm an all-in SalonBiz Vish girl. So
Thanks, Tonya. What about you, Laura? Any specific features that really helped with implementing Vish?
Yeah, definitely having the client information load up on Vish, like for whatever your day looks like, is just it seamlessly loads up. You don't have to add anything in yourself. That is, you know, phenomenal. And also the front desk app reminds us to get it onto the ticket, which is where it's important. If we don't put it on the ticket, we don't get paid for it. So those two things together really just make it 100 times easier than it could be if that weren't available.
Love it. Okay, we have two questions from the attendees. Really quick, this one's for you, Laura. I think it's just to confirm something you said earlier, which is that you collected 90K, I believe, was it since April or just so far this year?
That's this year, January to today.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for verifying.
Mm.
Incredible. And then this is a good one. I definitely like this one. It goes back to kind of the implementation and onboarding is what's the single hardest thing that you had to overcome from your team's perspective?
Change.
So did you change?
Change, I mean, I do have a couple of hairdressers that are very resistant to change. And you have to figure out who those people are on your team, and you have to hold their hand a little bit harder. And you also can find your warriors and your cheerleaders that absolutely are passionate about the technology. They know it like no one else. And you find those people and you match them together. And you're like, okay, here's your accountability partner. And so that's how we've made it really work for us. Like I had one stylist that he was just come hell or high water. He was like, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I don't have time to do this. And what do? I just go get one of my 20-year-old new hires, that loves technology. And I'm like, hey, so I've got a little job for you. And now they're just like BFFs, and she truly walks him and holds his hand all the time and keeps him accountable. So
Love it. That's awesome. How about you, Laura? Any specific pushback from your team or challenges in that area?
Yeah, so change is always hard for sure. But I find with my team, if they understand, if you're transparent with them about the numbers, I mean, I feel like there's a lot in this industry of hidden information coming from salon owners to their staff. And I feel like that causes problems in the salon. I feel like if you're transparent with your staff, you explain to them what your profitability actually is. I don't think they understand that. If you explain to them how you're profitable, how much things cost, how much it costs you as well as them, they only know what they make and what is coming onto their paycheck. And then, of course, we make all the rest, right? We make all the rest, which is really an unfair number in their mind. What they're thinking is not what it actually is. And so if you actually break it down and explain it to them, I find that they actually get on board themselves and become cheerleaders themselves because they actually understand it and they want to be in a profitable salon and they want to be in a high-end salon and they want to be in a salon that is, moving with the times and is forward thinking and is, they don't want to be, behind everybody else. They want to be ahead. So usually it's information that my team needs to really get them on board.
Laura, can I just ask you quickly about, and sorry, both of you, Tonya and Laura, how important is sustainability and having a healthy green salon to the younger generation of hairdressers that are coming out of school? Are they, do they speak of that as an important part of the salon culture?
Yes, 100%. 100%. They definitely want that. I'm sure that many salons out there and Tonya's salon, I'm sure, are implementing all kinds of different ways, not just Vish and eliminating waste, but, the eco heads and the eco fees and recycling and all of those things. I feel like they definitely want that. They definitely want that.
From 23 years ago to today, it's a drastic difference of what this generation truly is passionate about and really cares about. And so I see my younger stylists taking the lead on that, which is a great thing for our salons because we needed that. And they're like these awesome cheerleaders that truly are passionate about sustainability, which is super cool.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Okay, we have one more question from the audience. We'll do the last one and we'll wrap it up. So they would like to know if either of you can share if your team's commissions have increased through collecting extra product and service charges.
100%. And they see it. I would say my team as a whole on their service commissions since 2020 have grown by 36%, which is huge. And it's because they're charging for everything they're doing and they see it. So they're super on fire about it.
Yes, 100%. My staff has increased their commissions. They are, like Tonya said, they're charging for everything. We have additional commissions on our retail markup as well that they did not have before. It was an added commission that we added when we implemented that new change. So, 100%, they're seeing it in their commissions, and it actually now makes them not want to ever go without it. They definitely appreciate it as well.
It probably does wonders for your retention, your staff retention, and also your recruitment too, I would imagine.
Yes, for sure.
And one thing I just want to add to that, if I can, is that we work with salons, and I do this with a lot of salons. If they're doing back bar charges or product charges and they want to eliminate them, I can really help show a path to using the product charges through Vish so that you're passing it off to the customer and you're not taking it from the staff. So again, it's like not a direct commission, but they're making more money.
Yeah, we completely got rid of our product charges. And so that's all we do is just pay a sliding scale commission based on your sales, which is so easy because, like Lora was saying earlier, you've got this persona that there's a lot of hidden cost. And in order to fix that stigma, you got to be very transparent with your staff, and you got to show them the numbers. And also show them how they grow, because a lot of times they don't even know what they did last year. But in order to see that on SalonBiz this year versus last year, where they are, and all my team cares about is they're in the green, so they don't want to see in the red. But getting rid of that product charge has been really awesome and empowering for my staff, because they see what everything cost, because we're very transparent with them, and we do put it onto the customer. So that is very nice on the camaraderie in the break room, or the break room, as we call it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing, and thanks to the audience for asking some killer questions. I mean, this was a really great conversation. I love it. So, a few things that we spoke about, and Tim, feel free to jump in here, but leveraging that seamless salon integration. The great thing about pushing the formulas back into SalonBiz is just that it's there, right? Like that's one less step that stylist has to take between appointments, and it's there, it's done for them, it's accurate. I love that piece. Eliminating waste and promoting sustainability, right? Like the reduction in back bar cost is amazing. I love the sustainability piece too. I did a presentation recently where we talked about consumer buying behaviors, and one of them is that over 50% of consumers today really look at doing business with sustainable businesses. So that's amazing that's the behavior change, right? The shift in behavior is taking care of Mother Nature and Mother Earth. Maximizing your salon profits and reinvesting in your business and your people, right? The retention piece of the commission, talking about the commission and how it increased that is amazing. Tim, any final words here?
Yeah, absolutely. Like one of the most important things I like to, regurgitate from my days at Aveda was sustainability doesn't have to cost you money. It can be more profitable to be sustainable. So it's really good to focus on that and promote that to your teams. But one of the things that I look at is whatever we're doing manually is inconsistent, and it will be inconsistent. So whether we're verbally talking to the front desk team about what we did, or jotting something down on a note, or typing it in, look to technology to take care of all those things for you. Because one of the things that not necessarily in the beginning when you're learning new technology, whether that's SalonBiz or Vish, there is that learning curve, and it'll take you a little bit longer. But these automated processes that we've come up with really help you to spend more time with your guests, take away, and again, change is difficult, even though that we give change every day to our customers, we're sometimes the most resistant to it. Is that work with technology, let it take care of the tedious tasks that we're not necessarily great at. So that we have more time for our guests and be able to focus more on what our job is, which is providing these great services. So I'm super excited and thankful to be able to share this information and to be a part of SalonBiz. Again, you know, I've been in the network for so long. This was so important to me that we had this integration. If anybody's interested, there's a couple of QR codes for both SalonBiz and Vish on the screen now. So you could just book a demo. One of the things that I will tell you is that, you know, what you heard from both Tonya and Lora today is that they have different approaches to using Vish in their salon. And, you know, with SalonBiz, with the technology, we have the ability to sort of customize the experience or customize the setup, at least in your salon, so that it fits your culture. And it's not always about doing everything one way in the beginning. Sometimes it takes, implement this first, then do the second step, and then the third step to getting to what Lora said about parts and labor. Not everything has to be done at once. So, you know, take off bite-sized pieces for your onboarding. Thank you all so much for having me today.
Thank you, Lora and Tonya, for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Bye.